So finishing concrete. Big question. Why? Why are we finishing concrete? What's the purpose of us finishing concrete? Am I gonna take a guess? Durability. That's my number one reason is durability. And there's some other reasons to go along with it too. We want it to be shaped properly. You know, sometimes the shape of concrete is important to what it's supposed to do. The function of the member. When we're thinking about this concrete that we're pouring, what's it supposed to do? Why, why is these details and plans out of what? What's the function of that member? Appearance. Appearance is another thing. A lot of times, we want to look good. Appearance makes a big difference. And it's also a contract requirement that we properly finish concrete. All right, durability, let's get up there. American Concrete Institute says durability is its resistance to weather and action, chemical attack, and heat, abrasion, and other degradation processes. What is this? Weather and action, we're talking about elements, rain, snow, sleet, wind, working on that concrete, just exposure to the elements. Chemical attack. What kind of chemicals attacked our concrete? There we go. DOT, we talking about chemicals attacking roads and bridges, we're talking about salt. All right. So, proper finishing concrete increases durability how? Consolidates it. Seals it. Seals a big word. Finishing concrete correctly creates a more dense surface by moving the larger aggregate away from the surface and brings the more dense mortar up to the top. All right. That more dense mortar, when you bring it up to the top and strike it off, we sealed that concrete up. We don't have a lot of exposure, a lot of porous aggregates on top. That's not really a good picture, but you can see how that used to be concrete. Now it's crumbled up concrete. So this concrete surface helps to resist weather by sealing the surface to prevent entry of damaging elements such as water and those chlorides. Chlorides cause a lot of damage to our structures, right? What's that a picture of? What's this big brown thing right here in the middle of this? What loose like concrete? Piece of reinforcing steel. What's wrong with it? It's rusted. What does things do when they rust? They grow out. You get a crack in the concrete, a little spalled area exposes that steel member to the air and the chlorides, starts to rust. That rust builds up, that scale expands, causes more spalling, more crack, more rust.
What happened to that Charlotte Footbridge at the racetrack?
Charlotte Footbridge, I'm not 100% sure, but I think what happened with it was they used some, it was pre-stressed concrete members, and they introduced calcium chloride into the concrete, I believe. And whenever they cast those members, and those, they just eat that cable, that pre-tension cable off, and then when it got loaded, it no longer had the pre-stressing reinforcement. All them people went, and it failed. But so we have problems with that. It may not that much necessarily a finishing issue, maybe more so of a construction issue. All right, a couple other pictures fixes poor durability. This is a curve and a gutter line on an old bridge. Where does our salts and our chlorides end up a lot of times? In that gutter line. But anyhow, once you get a little spall started, especially if it's in a very susceptible area, then it continues to work on it and it don't stop till we replace the bridge. This one, some weather and action on this. This bridge gets a lot of, some of them little mountain valleys gets a lot of air, gets a lot of wind through here, a lot of rain. Some of those like been beaten off a hammer, but a lot of this exposed aggregate you see in this area, a lot of this has come from just weathering. It don't look like somebody been beating on it. So, anyhow, a few things that can happen. All right, moving on to proper shape. Why is proper shape important? Think about it, it's very important on certain types of members. Very real and curves, what are they designed to do? What's the function of that other than keep us from running off in the river? Or if I go down the road and I'm not paying attention, I'm, reach for something in the floorboard, and I hit one of these, hit a barrier rail. What's it supposed to do to me? Spin me around the highway? Send me right back in that same direction I was intending to go anyhow, right? All right, proper shape. That's the reason the way it does that is the shape. Shape up, same way with curves. Talk about bridge seats and caps. Why do we want proper shape there? Think about those seats. I sort of clicked on the head to it, but think about your drainage. You want, what happens on bridge? We got bridge seats underneath above a bridge seat, we got a joint usually, some type of joint. What happens on that joint? Hello, you bridge maintenance guys, what happens with bridge joints? Well, they stay sealed up forever, right? They leak. What happens then that opens up a pathway for all your salts and water to go down around their bearings. And then they start eating up, destroying their bearings. They destroy our girder ends. So if it gets there, where we want it to go? That water to go somewhere else. We don't want it standing around our seats. That's why you've got the details in the plan showing you how you grade the top of your bridge seats. Get your flow off of it. All right, proper shape. Which one do we want? This is first pop quiz. You want this one? Or this one? Have I got my proper shape on this decorative rail that I'm paying 2 or 3 more times the barrier rail price to get? Like I said, am I satisfied with that? If you are, I keep telling you this, but if you're not, then what we're looking for is nice, clean, neat shape, straight lines, good appearance, proper shape. It may not have a function other than aesthetics, but it is proper shape. What we're trying to achieve is that nice, neat, clean line. All right. Function of that member. Type of finish sometimes is dependent on what that concrete member is intended to do. Right? What is its function? Give you an example. Sidewalk. We come out here in front of the building. If that sidewalk is finished slick as a peeled onion, a little bit of rain on the ground, are we going to feel comfortable walking across it? What's going to happen? We're going to see our feet go up over our heads, and we're going to bust our hind ends, right? What do we do about sidewalk? How do we finish sidewalk? We broom it, right? What's the function of that sidewalk to walk on? Part of walking, we don't want to slip and fall and break our neck. So we give a broom surface to sidewalk because of its function. So just, everybody knows what broom sidewalks are, but that's a good example of why, when we're finishing concrete, to be thinking about function. Something a little bit more important about, I'm going to jump back on bridge seats. What are their functions? What's the function of those bridge seats? Bear, they just transfer that load from the bridge deck through the girder, through the bearings, into the cap, at the seat, and down to our foundation, right? We'll talk about construction joints in a minute. Think about it. We're loading up a bridge seat. What's the function of that bridge seat? To transfer that load, right? If it's a little uneven and I've got an elastomeric bearing pad, then it sort of takes care of a lot of problems. It sort of conforms to the shape. Maybe it ain't too bad if I don't have a real bad, poorly finished bridge seat. But think about more rigid bearings such as like a pop bearing. You got your masonry plate at the bottom. Oops. Got your load coming down. Nice even bearing surface. We got even load distribution on our cap. That's what the designer intended to have. That's why he drew those pictures with straight lines instead of squiggly lines on the planes. He intended to have good uniform load distribution through that cap. It's a major part of his design that he's not point loading, he's got uniform loads. If we got an uneven bearing surface, poorly finished, something happened, missed a grade, then when we put that same load through that bearing, we get point loading down here and it's not uniformly loaded. So this is not what the designer intended to do. So finishing concrete can have a major function major influence on the function of that member. All right, mention construction joints. On the culvert floor, we pour the floor slab. We put a little riser walls here. Sort of hard to see, but little riser walls here, to center forms against the pour walls. How important is it to finish this construction joint? What does it do? Which one would you rather finish? Which one would you rather have on your project? Nicely good finished wall riser, or like this one or this one? This one, right? Why? Why is that necessary? When I put my wall form up here and I pour my concrete 8 or 9 feet down to this wall, and I stick my 7-foot vibrator in there, what happens when I pull that form off? Honeycomb. All right, we don't get it. Am I getting good load distribution through this? If I got roughed area that I'm not getting good concrete contact? No. What about on this one where I got nice, good straight, neat joints, building a construction joint? I got more of an opportunity to get good consolidated concrete down here at the bottom. I get good load distribution from the walls. Everybody's happy. Done a good job. You pull them forms off, you see all kinds of things in there. You see, big honeycomb, you see reinforced steel, you see daylight, or water in it, it leaks. It all happens. See it all, do it all. Alright, so think about what is the function, what is this thing that I'm doing, what's its function whenever you're out there? Then how, is my contractor helping me to achieve that for proper finishing the concrete? Alright, moving on. Appearance. What's so great about the appearance? We're building a bridge to drive on, right? We want it to look good. Bottom line, when we build something, we got a lot of concrete out there. It's a statement about the quality of work that we're doing. If we give you an ugly looking product, then what's your initial thought as a driving public thinking about the quality of that work? Bad, right? I told them in class yesterday, I said, we got highways full of, highway engineers going by every day inspecting our work. We call them traveling public. They're all highway engineers, or so they think. And they can judge the quality of our work just based on what it looks like. So make it look good, uniform color and texture. It's all part of obtaining a proper finish. And there's a mention, poorly finished concrete creates a negative image of the quality of work. So when we talked about whenever that bridge we rode across in Eaton, we noticed it looked good. The guy that done that, what did he do? What was he? What type of finisher, what type of laborer was he? Did he take pride in his work? Yeah. He wasn't just trying to get it done. He wanted it to look good. He took pride in his work, and in return, we got a better product. So we go down the road and we see ugly looking rail, negative image. What's the first thing you see when you come up on a bridge site? You look at that rail. You're not looking at the columns. You see the part that you can see. Walls, MSC walls, or gravity walls, or soil else, any kind of big concrete draws your attention because it's a big old huge mass of concrete. And what does it look like? Make it look good. But that guy who come in here and he really worked that and put a lot of effort in there. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. He was an artist. He was a craftsman or an artist. He wanted to look good. He wanted to make it, that's disappeared. Now we've got folks that the concern is not doing good quality work. The concern is getting it done so I can get paid and I can do something else. All right, back to appearance. All right, contract requirement. Goes without saying, but hey, let's say it anyhow. According to your standard specifications, we require the concrete to be finished correctly. Section 420-17. If you don't believe me, look for section 420-17. In your spec book, that covers the whole section on finishing concrete properly. what does it say? Finish all concrete as required by this article except bridge decks. All right, Cameron spent the most part of the morning telling us how to properly finish bridge decks. Right? I'm talking about everything else. So, all concrete except bridge decks. We have special provision for bridge decks. Everything else falls under 420-17. Type of finish is explained there. We got different types of finish. We'll talk about here in a little bit. But it tells us how to achieve those finishes. All right, here's our types of finish. We got ordinary surface finish. Most all the concrete we do, if it's formed, gets ordinary surface finish. Unformed surfaces, sidewalks, islands, all have a particular type of finish. Class 1 and Class 2 finishes. These 5 different finishes is what DOT requires on all concrete, with the exception of bridge decks. All right, before we get into that, what do you think affects the concrete by the finish? What affects the finish of concrete? What's a few things that can affect that? Weather. What else? Weather. When you say weather, I mean hot, cold, which has really about how long it takes me to get a chance to get in there and get it plunged. Another type of concrete mix. All right, our higher strengths or higher strength concrete, our double A's, our A's, they have more cement in those mixtures than our lower classes. So more cement means more what? More what?
I said butter, but grout.
Butter, mortar. Right? Our cement and our fine aggregate makes that mortar. With these higher classes of concrete, your double A's and your A's, they have more mortar, more cement for finishing. Obviously, it makes it easier to finish. All right? Condition of the forms. If you got a rough form, what's your concrete going to look like when it comes off? Just like that form, right? Placement consolidation. Can I properly finish concrete if I don't properly place it consolidated? No. It makes it hard. You can finish it, but it takes a lot more work to do it. And elapsed time from pouring to finishing. You know, really the sooner the better. The longer that concrete sits out there, the longer it waits, the hotter the weather is, the quicker it sets, harder it is to finish that concrete. All right. Let's look at a few of these. Form condition. All right, y'all have any of this stuff look on your project, any of these type of forms? You know, I've got openings here. I've got, you know, this was sticking up about 3/4 of an inch higher than the other one. That form had rolled up. It's been out there in the weather. They've used it 14 million times, and it's, you know, it's rolled up. Contractors don't use it anyhow because forms cost a lot of money. I got spalled out areas in it. If I pour concrete on top of these forms, what's it going to look like when I pull the form off? It's going to look like the opposite of this, a mirror image of that. Is that easy to finish? If I got to get on stick with it and get this thing, you know, to take care of this? Yeah. You know, sometimes contractor may have some gaps in his forms because, you know, everything's not perfect. But if he said, well, I'll fill that in with some just expanding urethane foam or whatever. Once it does that, it does need to be trimmed back where it's not got a big knot in your form.
Just allow him to use those phones, period. You ain't got to worry about it.
There you go.
There you go. That's what we're talking about. What about these?
Well, now, as far as the cracks and stuff, especially if you end up on a curved bridge or something, a curved girders, you just by trying to get it fit up, you're probably going to have some cracks in there, and they'll probably try to seal it with great stuff or something. And if they do that, anywhere they try to do that, he's just saying make sure you get that trimmed off flush with your forms and don't have a knot. But yeah, if you see junk like that, I don't care if you're getting ready to pour concrete, and just walk out there and notice a big blistered up form, you got every right in the world to tell them to take it out.
Something warped like that, you typically try to get rid of.
Yep.
Once it's flat, you can transition.
Yeah. When's the time to start looking at these forms? When he's got the steel in it, ready to pour? Yeah. He starts he starts forming this stuff, take a look at them, they bring stuff in there, drop it off, looks like these forms are actually used. And when these particular forms were removed, part of the face of these forms stayed in the member that was cast. Alright, is that a finishing nightmare? Absolutely.
And if he's, another thing, you're talking about the condition of forms, if that form is going on the fill face side of the indent, that's one thing. If it's going, on the face of your, wall with the cast in place retaining wall, that's something entirely different,
So, think about, what's it gonna look like when I get done? Do I care if I got a bad looking place on the back side of a field face? Probably not. Do I care if this is out there where everybody can see it? This is gonna have to be fenced and we're gonna have to work it. Yeah, he'll use better forms. If you get stuff like this, tell them, these things are old or dilapidated, got a little termite damage. They've been around a while. These need to go in the dumpster. And that's ultimately where these ended up. The guys formed the concrete, he wanted to keep them, use them on the next job. Prime said, nope, them's going in the dumpster. And that's where they went. He loaded them up and threw them away. But anyhow, form condition means more, it's got a large influence on finishing. So when we talk about finishing concrete, where does it start? When they pull the forms off? When does the mindset think? When does it start? You need to start thinking about finishing that concrete. When you start forming that concrete, we need to start thinking about what it's going to look like when we take it off. All right, placement consolidation. Get anything look like this on your job. Pull the forms off. We got some pretty large air pockets in here. Nothing looks real structural, but some of these things need to be patched. We got some places that need to be fixed. What's this booger over here? Anybody seen that before? How do we need to fix that? Smear a little grout over top of it, right? Hide it. Guys, you pull your forms off, bad day or whatever. We don't get good consolidated mix up here. We need to take a little bit of investigation. Y'all guys mentioned chipping it out. Get hold of your hammer and take a look at it and let's see what kind of problem we got here. Does this segregated concrete mix go all the way through the deck, or is it just a little bit of surface irregularities? That's a question you need to ask yourself. Once we do that, we need to decide how we're going to fix it. If we got a great old big board in here, by all means that needs to be chipped out and put back with something other than grout. If it's just a little bit on the surface, maybe we can seal it up with some grout and be fine. All right. What about this? Grout it up and send it out to the job, right? That's good to go. Bad things can happen. Had some slip form barrier wall that was, turned out looked pretty good on the outside. Got ready to bolt the guardrail to it, bored the hole in inside the hollow. We found the hollow place. Things can happen. We don't fill this thing full of grout. If you do, flag it so I don't drive across it. All right. Going back, ordinary surface finish applies to all formed concrete. All right. If we lay up 2 sheets of plywood and we pour concrete in between it, it's formed concrete. Anything we form, unless it requires a different type of finish, ordinary surface finish. All right. So what I'm talking about, wing walls, caps, edge of deck slabs, culvert walls, gets ordinary surface finish. How do we get it? All right. Proper placement of concrete, as we mentioned, is a major factor. If we place it poorly, we got more work to do to get this ordinary surface finish. We're using ordinary surface finish on probably 90% of what we do, other than bridges. When do we start? If you don't get anything else out of this presentation, best thing's gonna help us, if finishing starts when? Immediately. On your handouts, on your slideshow, take your pencil and circle immediately like 12 times. Or when you flip through it, you'll know it means immediately. After removal of the forms. Why? The specification tells us that, but why is that important? It's easier to be able to get what we want. What if we wait 2 weeks? What's happened to that concrete in 2 weeks' time? It's cured, it's dense. What's happened to that mortar? It's set, right? Can I get that mortar back up? Can I work that mortar back up to finish it? No. The reason we're not doing this, well, why is the contractor not doing that? What's his goal in life? Takes time. That's right, time and money. What does it take for me to do this? Couple people. If I pull that form off, what am I going to do with that form? I'm an ambitious contractor. What am I going to do with that form? I'm going to take it down here and I'm going to put it up again and I'm going to pour more concrete in it, because that's how you're paying me, by how many cubic yards of concrete I put in that form. All right. We also pay them by how much it's supposed to be finished. So is he caring about finishing that concrete? No, he's worried about making pour more and more and more. We'll see some effects of that here in a little bit. All right. Finish starts immediately. All right. Remove form ties, metal spacers 1 inch below the surface. All right. When you put them in there, use on snap ties, break them off, little cone, pop that cone out. It's supposed to be patched in, 1 inch below the surface. Fins and other projections, we will remove those. Like the 2 places where you got 2 forms come together, you pour concrete, you get a little fin between them 2 form marks. Remove those. That's required of ordinary surface finish. And removing the stains. All right. Fill pockets, depression, honeycombs, etc. with grout. We talked a little bit about this honeycomb word, right? Don't just hide it up with some grout. We want, investigate it and then decide how we're going to fix it. But if it's a minor, if it's on the surface, we'll cover it up, smear a little grout on it, and seal it up. What kind of grout do we use? What kind of grout do y'all see used out on the job? Go ahead and tell me. Place sand, non-shrink grout, right? All right. Yeah, I know. That's what they use. Place sand, non-shrink grout. What does the spec say we're supposed to use? Cement, fine aggregate from the same source of materials that we poured the member with, right? Why? Why do you think that's important? Same color, same consistency, better chance for getting proper bond. No adverse chemical properties, mixing together. We're not doing some kind of chemical experiment out there creating, problems that cause. That's why it's there. Is that easy to do? No, somebody got to make a trip, right? It's a lot easier to just bring out some non-shrink grout and mix it up and pop it in there. Once we patch it, what has to happen to that grout? Got to cure it. All right. What do we need to cure that grout? Use non-shrink. Place sand. Grout must be cured because it's just the same as concrete. We don't want that patch. We want to give it every opportunity it can to bond that existing concrete, and we want to make sure that patch is not tracking, it's falling out of shape. So we want to cure it. Give it, every opportunity for it to do what we want it to do. All right, and after we've done that, after we've removed our fins and our stains, and we've filled our pockets, depressions, honeycombs with grout, we're going to rub the entire surface with a carborundum stone or a rubbing rock, as I like to call it, because that word's too hard for me to say. All right, to a uniform color and texture. Pretty simple. What does it do? How do you get this? What you got to use to get this? Manpower, labor. Takes time, takes money, right? Labor, time's money, right? Labor takes time, time's money. Money's what? That's what contractors after. How do we get his attention? We gotta grab him in the pocketbook. You know, is he doing what we want him to do? It takes time. That's why he's wanting to pour that concrete, so he can make that money. All right. Now, on ordinary surface finish, on surfaces that are either backfilled or otherwise covered and closed, in other words, we'll never see them again, hopefully, the following parts of ordinary surface finish are not required. Removal of form marks or fins, rubbing of the grouted areas to a uniform color, or rubbing the whole surface to a uniform color, removal of stains and discolorations. So in other words, if we're on the backside of a wing wall, all we've got to do is we need to patch any depressions, pockets, honeycombs, patch reform ties, remove reform ties, and we're good to go. We don't have to rub the whole surface to a uniform color and texture, but we got to take them off. Now, if there's a little pocket you see where a form tie was in there, if you broke it off, we got to patch that area. You may have some pretty big little air pockets in here. We need to put some grout in. What about form ties that's less than, I think it's 0.05 square inches or something, but it comes out to be form ties less than a 1/4 inch in diameter or steel. On the back side, we can cut them off flush. We don't have to take them down 1 inch below the surface. For less than a 1/4 inch, we can just take our grinder and zip them off. Most time, contractors use these form ties and they'll twist them and they'll break off back in there. If they do, we need to patch that hole. But backside, we can leave it looking a little rough. We're gonna cover it up, nobody will see it. If it's exposed, then we need to finish it. We need to patch it. We need to remove the forms and the fins, rub it to uniform color. All right. On caps, it tells us exposed surfaces should be rubbed to uniform color and texture. Top cap should be finished smooth, which conforms to the plan details, grade, slope, and etc. in your plan. There's your bridge caps. That's where you want to get your drainage. You want to make sure you got a good uniform loading system. on your railing, parapet walls, your barrier rail, end post. Once you work the surface and float to achieve a proper shape, there's that shape word in there again. Use a fine brush or rough carpet float to create a sandy or pebbled surface. All right. And we generally do a pretty good job on that. We get our shape, and then they'll broom it and brush it to get a little grainy, pebbly surface. So that's good. That's what we're after. There's a picture of an ordinary surface finish. Good uniform color, good texture. If you look real close, right in this area, you see a little circle. Maybe we had a form tie and we've patched it. All right. Maybe it may be hard for y'all to see, especially in the back of the road. It's a little bit harder than we see up here. But right in this area, you can see, y'all maybe can't see that, but anyhow, it's a little bit darker. And what it tells me is maybe we didn't use cement from the same source of aggregate. We used some non-shrink grout and we patched it over. And then when we rubbed it, we tried to hide it, so to speak, blend it in. So, but overall, a pretty good picture of ordinary surface finish. I don't know why that projector's a lot brighter or something than that other, because these pictures aren't showing up. But picture some barrier rail it's a good grainy texture to it. Projector's real bright. It's not bringing out the pictures as clear as I want them to. But anyhow, good picture of ordinary surface finish. Yeah, that one sort of. There's two big black white walls, big white blobs that don't look too good. But anyhow, they're ordinary surface finish. So, that's what we're looking. Cameron's passed out a couple of these. You give them both of them just one. That's the surface of that. The one that looks like it's been finished. What we sort of look for an ordinary surface finish. It's not slick, it's rough, it's got some texture to it, uniform color. It's what we're looking for. It's got some raisins or. Aaron carried these around with him and his daughter filled it up with trees. Alright, yeah, cranberries and raisins. Unformed surfaces not subjected to wear. Alright, what we're talking about is things, you know, the buried footings, top of a footing, and we're going, you know, it's unformed. We dig a hole in the ground, pour it full of concrete, maybe the top of a, you know, shaft or something that we're not finishing, you know, we're not forming the top of it. We finish it by striking off excess with a wooden template, forcing coarse aggregate below the surface. Pretty well the whole requirement for an unformed surface, not subjected to wear. In other words, we're going to cover it up with something. When we just finish it off with a wooden float, what does that do? What's the purpose of doing that? Why do anything? But what's the purpose of just raking it off, bringing it to the proper grade, and floating it down one time? What's the purpose? Sealing the concrete. That's the one I was looking for. Seals the concrete. That's the purpose. All right. Sidewalks, islands, and stairs. When you're doing sidewalks or islands, we're going to have to form, you know, build a form or something to put in. The top of it's going to be exposed, but of course it is going to be subjected to wear. So, you know, we may have a side form. We pour our concrete in there. We strike it off. Take a trowel, a float. We float it down. Then we trowel it smooth. What does that trowel do? Brings more of that dense mortar to the top, right? Slicks it off. When we come, then we're going to broom it. In order to broom it and get a good job of brooming, we've got to bring that mortar. We got to get a good mortar bed on top of it to do that with. So that's what. And that way, when you broom it, also with that bringing more mortar to the top of the trowel, does not allow it to catch those little bitty small aggregates and flip them up. You know. Anyhow, sidewalks, all stairs. All these are in your spec book. Tells you word for word what I got here. Couple pictures of broom finish. And guys, I apologize because that projector's a little better than what we're used to. It's pretty bright, but broom finish. Y'all know what it looks like. You've seen it before. On this particular one, we did some sidewalk on this was the Integral Bridge, but we had the construction joint down here. What should we maybe have done differently here? We were told us to join in right here instead of right here, shouldn't we? Yeah. So, but we did. You know, hindsight's 20/20. We screwed up, but you know.
And if you ever have a cord slab or a box beam bridge that has got deck drains running underneath sidewalk, you better go back and over every one of those deck drains. You need to double joint it. If you don't, you're going to end up with a joint looking like that right there.
Yeah. Sometimes, you know, they just put a pipe or something through the sidewalk. You know, it could be a square round pipe. That's what I was saying to them. They will crack. So. All right. Moving on. Class 1. What do we use a Class 1 surface at? Painting walls, decorative bridge railing, anywhere need a more aesthetically pleasing look. How do we know if we got to do one? We got to do Class 1 finish. Contract uses a plan or a detail in the plan showing, you know, this wall requires Class 1 surface finish. You know, something's going to tell us that we need to, you know, Class 1 finish. All right. How do we get it? All right. As soon as the pointing sets, we're going to, so we pull our forms, we start passing our areas, we fill our depressions, we do everything. As soon as that sets, we get those little repairs made. What we need to do? Wet the surface and rub with a coarse stone to create a paste on the surface. This remove all the form marks, projections including produce a smooth dense surface without irregularities. Smooth out the paste and allow it to take a reset. Cure it for 7 days, and then go back over it with a fine stone to smooth the texture and get a uniform color. Karen passed out a couple more concrete samples that look like what we're anticipating seeing on a class 1 surface. I don't want to see this, or more importantly, the back side of it. I don't want to see that as class 1. I want to see something uniform texture, color, everything looks good. I want to see something that looks more like this than I do this. What I normally end up seeing the back side, and then contractor tries to get class 1 on top of this, and we'll talk about how he goes about doing that. All right. So, what does he got to do? Wet the surface and do what? Rub. And what we say rubbing was? Racing, right? Rubbing's labor. All right? Takes time. Takes effort. We've got to pay some guy to go out there and wet that surface. We've got to rub it. He's got to rub it and bring that whole surface in uniform color. A lot of money does those. Do we expect to have higher bid prices for a class 1 surface? Absolutely. If we get a uniform surface or a non-finished surface, are we getting our money's worth? Absolutely not. All right. Class 1 is the close-ups of class 1. Good uniform color surface. I know it don't do you much good. That's the picture it's taken on. All right. This shadow stuff here is not, that's got something to do with projecting. Disregard that. It's, but this whole retaining wall, good uniform color, surface, thing looks good. I don't know what that gray stuff is you're seeing here. It's, it got on there since last night. But, you look at it, overall, this wall looks good. So I've got a good class 1 surface. I'm happy with this wall. Uniform color, good smooth texture. Everything looks like it's supposed to. Alright. Other class 1s. Church Rail, we got maybe a little bit more work to do here, but we're on our way. If we pulled these forms off and left it for 2 or 3 weeks, are we even going to be close to getting what we're after? No. Alright, what about this class 1 by diamond grinding? What does that do? It looks neat, don't it? We got good, clean, sharp angles. What's one downfall to diamond grinding? I've took my grout off. I've took my seal off. And I've exposed some aggregate. Yeah. Going back in time. Covered up, listen. And it may be. But this, we got good looking, good looking structure, good looking member. But, we've opened it up to some elements. All right, throw this one in there. This bridge, we're required to put these same relief lines in this new bridge that the old bridge had. It's a railroad bridge. They wanted to look the same. And but we didn't specify. We specified ordinary surface finish. He didn't have to do much other than just rub it to a uniform color. But this particular contractor wanted his work to look good. All right, so he put me a class 1 finish on this at no charge. The structure's supposed to have a decorative look to it. He wanted to put forth some effort, and he put me a class 1 finish on this. He rubbed that. Took a lot of time, took a lot of labor to do that. But it turns out to be a better product. We didn't pay him any more for it, but it turns out it looks all right. So is this guy proud of his work? Absolutely. He wants something to look good. He wants to say, hey, that he did quality work and he wanted to look good. All right, class 2, we don't specify a lot of class 2. Sometimes on some coping or places, we may use a class 2. Don't see a whole lot of it. But how do we get it? Same way. As soon as the point sets, wet and rub the surface with a coarse stone to create the paste on the surface, moving off form marks, projections, producing a smooth dense surface without irregularities. There's that labor word again, right? Money. Alright, once you got that paste worked up, you finish the paste by gently stroking with a clean brush and spread uniformly light, take a reset, and then finish it by rubbing it with a canvas, carpet paste, or cork float, or rub down with some dry burlap. So, that's on class 2. Alright, got a few pictures. I got the good, I got the bad, and I got the ugly. We're gonna look at the good first with. Here I got some classic church rails it's in process of being finished. A little darker here, maybe they went to lunch or something. These guys are working on it. We're gonna get sort of what we're looking for. Here I got top of some berry rail, that gives you a little picture of that more sandy, grainy, pebbly texture. I got good straight berry rail, good uniform lines, looks good. Same thing here, I got good joint, I got good, got a picture of a little bit on the bad that showed when they pulled this form out. This wall sagged down, bulged out, and the top of it's not proper shape. That particular one looks good. Culvert wall, culvert's gonna bury them, a lot of times you don't see a whole lot. This exposed part needs at least an ordinary surface finish. We may backfill area on the sides, but the wing faces, the head wall, we need to finish those. We don't need just to let them go or patch them, whatever. We need to finish ordinary surface finish. That culvert end's exposed, but other than that, it looks good. Got nice, neat, clean lines. Good work. All right, here comes the bad. What in the world is this thing? This was a column. I'll tell you what it was. What happened? Did I properly finish this column? What did the contractor do? Did what? Got paid. Took his non-shrink grout and his play sand, he mixed him up a rich mixture, and he packed it in here. I got a hole right here he didn't even touch, or it fell out one. Do you think he used the same cement and sand from the top of the car? No. Pretty good place right here. If you see a little closer, I can see little cracks in it. In this non-shrink grout. I can see cracks through this thing. What does that tell me he didn't do? He didn't cure it. So, we properly repair these. If I got a worse problem underlying all this mess, I ain't seen. Did we camouflage it? Did we cover it up? Alright, that's the first time, second time we've seen it. First time we said you gotta patch it, you gotta fix it. That's how he fixed it. Then we come back. This ain't as bad as it looks. I mean, it looks pretty bad. It looks like a big old chunk, but it ain't quite as bad as it looks. Go from part 1 to part 2, come back and it looks like this. Well, that ain't too bad. It's a little rough. They cleaned that up. How did I get from here to here? I don't know. I take this picture one day, next week come take this picture. What happened in between? I don't know. That's why you guys out there in the field are important, to put your eyes on this and let us know what's going on. Did he take some more non-shrink grout and cover that up and hide it? Or it looks, okay to me, we don't catch my eye? Actually, no, but that's what I'm telling you. Contractor coming here and he can cover something up and make it look a lot better. Alright, so that's your before and afters. Not necessarily this is perfect, but better than that. Alright, there's that berry rail I was talking about. They poured the berry rail, pulled it out, what happened? Got about a 3/4 inch deformation right there. Did I get proper shape? Probably not. And a lot of times what will happen too, once they, they've got this texture looks good, they'll pull this out and then they'll go back and they'll rub over top of those joints. And then they won't go back and give you a texture on that, give you that green texture. Proper shape. These parapet wall things are supposed to line up. You know, that particular one is about 1.5 inches, 2 inches out of alignment. You know, this is formed parapet wall. They get proper shape. How am I gonna fix that? Tell you how we're not gonna fix it. We're not gonna come in here and drive us some nails and some tie wire on it and grout it up with some non-shrink grout and play sand. There's better ways of fixing things than that. You know, if you got a little small place, you can grout that place up. But anyway, proper shape, it would get it. All right, remember talking about that retaining wall is pretty? Another go around the corner. What does this look like? Go ahead and say it. I don't hear what you got to say. What does it look like? Y'all good with that? Class 1? Anybody say puzzle?
Yeah.
Okay, anybody say quilt? All right, it's one puzzle, one quilt. All right. It's amazing. What did he do? What did this guy do? How did the guy finish this? Well, you'll see a picture here directly to see. This is stage 2. All right, I'll show you stage 1 here in a little bit. Or I'll show this is stage 3. I'm sorry. Anyhow, did you blend that finish together? No. He out there, and I accuse him of sitting there and he finished this section and he stepped over here and he finished that section. Then he got up on his scaffold and he finished that section. You know, that's a lot of concrete surface. Right here we're probably, you know, it's probably say 15, 18 feet high. A lot of concrete surface. What does it take to finish that? A lot of rubbing. When they did that, the one wall I showed you that picture didn't turn out that great. They come carrying out a box of these rubbing stones. I'm talking about a box. It's just packed full of them. And they rubbed, and they rubbed, and they rubbed, and they wore them things down to the bolts that hold the handles on. You know, guy rubbed and he had a great old big huge arm on this side and a little bitty arm on this side. They took a lot of time, a lot of effort to get that. You know, so you know, joke about it a little bit, but it takes a lot of time and a lot of work to get these proper finishes. Right. We're not
Well,
doing
it takes a lot of work, but the more work that you do right off the bat and get your forms right and start rubbing as soon as you wreck those forms, the more you do it properly, the less work it takes in the long run.
Yeah, better say, you know, less time it takes him. Longer you wait, harder it takes. Yeah. All right. Grout coating. Looks a little rough, but if you didn't know him better, you'd say, that's, you know, did I? What did he do here? He got his bucket non-shrink grout, got his place sand, mixed it up, and he coated that member, coated the side of that deck. That perfect wall. Is that what we want? Absolutely not. This is a problem, guys. When we talk about, we got some more pictures, but the reason that these contractors, they're pulling that form off, they're pouring concrete, they don't have time to finish that concrete. One of the biggest problems we see is they'll take that grout and they go in there and they'll smear over it trying to achieve a finish. Right. It's not bonded to the existing concrete. Eventually it'll fall off in the creek, fall off wherever we let it. It's a problem.
That grout that he mixes up, that's supposed to be going in honeycombs and in form tie holes. If he's out there with a rubber float and a bucket and he's taking scoops of it and he's smearing it across whatever that surface is, he's wrong. He's doing something wrong.
He's already done something wrong. He's trying to fix
The
it.
paste that he's supposed to have there, he's supposed to be working up out of that concrete, not working up out of a bucket.
So, coating it with grout. What does that look like? Stucco. Pretty much the consensus is stucco. Same wall we was looking at, trying to achieve that proper finish. This is stage 2. All right. Go in there and they just take grout, mixed up grout. How many bags of non-shrink grout you think was on that monster? There's a lot. Not finishing the concrete. What ends up happening is you'll come in there, that same picture, that picture there turns out to be that picture. We took the stucco off of it, done it, made them go in there and grind it off. Then they had to remove the form marks. Have I got class 1 finish here? Absolutely not. Can I get class 1 finish? Absolutely not. It's too late. My concrete's done set up. This concrete's probably 2 months old. I cannot get that to be properly finished. There's no mortar accessible there. It's set. All right. More grout coating. This section out here looks pretty good. On top of this parapet wall, contractor goes in there and yeah, it looks good, Starts putting this post in. Falls off a piece. Wait a minute. Get my hammer out and go to chipping, and that's what all this is. It's coated down with grout. Same thing here. Top of this, chipped off area. Is that grout mixed in good with that concrete? Is it bonded? Absolutely not. Did the grout that they use, did it come out of that? Add on top of it. Signs that your contractor may not be properly finishing concrete. There it is. Proof evidence. Somebody asked me, is that on the same project? And I thought, actually, yes, it was. Thought about it for a second, it was. Non-shrink grout and place sand. That's a non-snuff, even if we don't use cement from the same source of materials, and we're going to patch our holes with non-shrink grout and place sand. Those two components right there is enough to do about 20 bridge jobs. Shouldn't, and you'll see grout bags laid everywhere. It's not properly finished. What's he done here? Concrete's just melted and got hot and melted and run over top, right? He done it. He smeared it on there and he worked it up, got it good and wet. What'd it do? That's what caught my eye. That right there is what caught my eye, that wasn't properly finished. I took a piece of rebar and I went to pecking on it and I started knocking chunks off. I said, guys, this is not properly finished concrete. So we had a little talk about that and they looked at me like, what are you talking about? What have we been doing?
That's the other thing. We talked a while ago about don't be afraid to back straight up. Don't be afraid to pull a hammer out and hit that. Whatever it is. I had the contractor told me one time I had one of those little old east wing rock hammers. I went to pecking on something. He said, son, give me that. If you can hit that hard enough, that little old hammer hurt it, I've done something wrong. And he went to flailing on it. And if it's something you can hurt with that little old hammer, if you're not just chipping on a corner or something, then something's probably wrong. So don't be afraid to pull a hammer out and put him to the test.
So I went from this mess to remove the grout. And I ended up with this. Ground up concrete, ground the top. If I got a good ordinary surface finish, contractors will go on the next job. Eventually we'll end up buying this, we'll accept it. What are we living with for the rest of all that bridge's life? We're living with this. Is this what we wanted? Is this what our specifications say to give us? No. But who's going to end up living with it? Bridge maintenance. Who is a part of, believe it or not, who one of us? Everybody's part of DOT. Part of, state of North Carolina, part of the traveling public. We're all ending up with something that we didn't really anticipate getting. We hope to get something better. All right. All right. Now we're back to the ugly. Remember that wall I was talking about that we grout coated, that we ground on? This is what that rascal looked like. All right. This was pulled the forms off. And what we got to do? We got to pour more concrete. We got to set them forms, and we got to pour again. It's raining. It's going to rain on Friday. Let's go. Let's get it done. If that required a class 1 finish, if you was a contractor, would that disturb you when you pulled them forms off? Right. I mean, I've got multiple imperfections. I've got all kinds of form marks. I've got, form tie holes. I've got ways. If a good contractor pull it off and seen it, you know, after he fainted and got back up on his feet, he'd go rubbing that himself. We're trying to fix that. Truth be known, this sat out there way too long before we even tried to finish it. So what did that contractor want to do? I showed you the stucco a while ago, didn't I? Same picture. Same picture. You know, can I get class 1? No. I'm gonna get what I pay for? No. So, anyhow, out there is the ugly. Looked good when I left. How long this mess? Poured approach slab, everything looked good, covered it up. Boy, let's go home. It's late. You know, started pouring this thing about 5 o'clock or about 4 o'clock one winter day. Covered it up, went to the house. Kid come along on his motorcycle, had his hound dog with him, the rest of the square dancing team, and boys, they had to go down. They had a good time. Can't fix that, can you? Well, you can, but God, you got protection word. I thought I'd never see nothing else. Nobody else, you know. Very seldom, rarely, you see somebody drive through the concrete. You know, same contractors. About a month ago, poured approach side, poured 2 approach sides, poured this side of the bridge, poured this side. Stayed, covered it up, stayed with it, thought they had the initial set, poured it late today, you know, stayed about a while, took off and left, went home. Unique thing about this bridge is that, you know, the road was closed with about a 2-mile detour. Beer joints on the other side of the bridge. Moped come riding up. Got about halfway through the approach slab, maybe got stuck, got off and pushed. You know, one side was good, one side had a few little surface, you know, little small tire tracks. I think we're gonna be able to grind those out. Other side, we chipping concrete out and doing class 2 repairs to fix it. You know, so I've introduced several construction joints to my approach slab that I didn't really anticipate. Yeah, so the key thing is protect it. Once you get it there, you get a good job on it, you need to protect it. In your package, you should have a little quick flow chart. That's what it is. Just sort of gives you some highlights of your ordinary surface finish or your most popular class 1 finish, some factors that affect it, just little reminders, quick for you easy to see. But list your specifications. Yeah. Any questions? Any question on concrete finishing? Key thing to remember, guys, we need to try, you know, get on our contractors and, you know, and make them, you know, try to say, you know, you're supposed to finish immediately after moving the forms. And we're going to, you know, try to work before we start getting rid of this problem of finishing concrete improperly. Bruce,
Let's take 10 minutes.